So I went into this movie with pretty low expectations. I would say those expectations shifted in the last few days prior to seeing it, which I saw it yesterday, after hearing from some family members, friends, who all spoke highly of it. Um, so I would say going in, my expectations were, oh, maybe this is actually going to be good. Um, and as any Dylan fan or music fan knows, there's been not a million, there's been a lot of movies about Dylan. I have a bunch of them. This is obviously the classic, Don't Look Back. Uh, my personal favorite is No Direction Home. Of course, there's the Rolling Thunder Review. This one I saw up in San Francisco, and Martin Scorsese was actually taking questions in the audience. He walked by me at the end, and I said, "Hey, Marty." He turned and said hi. And then I thought I had the DVD for this, but I can't find it. Of course, I'm Not There, the Todd Haynes movie that came out in 2007, which I loved. So all four of these I loved, and I know there's like 1,000 more. I have a couple like live performance Dylan DVDs, but this one, well, the Todd Haynes movie got a lot of hype prior to it coming out, but um, this one has a lot of buzz, I think, because of the lead actor, Timothy Chalamet, if I'm pronouncing that right. And just because it sort of traces back to the beginnings. So it's called A Complete Unknown. I went to the movie theater yesterday. So first time I've been to the movie theaters at least until pre-COVID. In like the 90s and 2000s, I used to go to movies all the time, whether it was with friends in New York, girlfriends at the time, or friends back in Jersey when I would go back to visit family. And then in San Francisco as well. And oftentimes I would go alone. I love going to movies alone. You don't have to do sort of the walkout of, so what'd you think? And then you'd have totally different takes. uh, I went and through all the previews, I was the only person in the theater, and then I think 5 people came in, and I gotta say, this was one of those like big mega mall theaters, AMC, I think. Uh, what a difference! I mean, I know movie theaters aren't what they used to be. Thought maybe they were having a comeback. It's obviously the holidays when I think a lot of people were back to work yesterday. I was not. I had the day off, as I do today, and as I do until next Monday, which is wonderful. So, what I was going to say about the movie theater, it was pretty depressing. I saw it at 3:15 in the afternoon, and I saw one other ticket buyer. There was a woman walking sort of to a different theater when I was walking to the Dylan movie. And then obviously the 5 folks who joined after the previews. But it was just, I'm used to, I grew up in New Jersey where we went to the movies all the time. Tons of people waiting online for popcorn. The movies just packed. Like if anybody knows Paramus, New Jersey, we would go to there was a triplex, and then there was a tenplex, I think, on Route 4. Yeah, that's where we would go. And then there was one in Ridgewood, a couple in Ramsey. Just going to movies is definitely a big part of my childhood. Like your first few dates, before my friends and I like started drinking and partying, movies was something we would do. And I would just say, going to this theater was obviously a Monday afternoon at 3:15 p.m., but it just looked like not a lot of people were going there. The movie let out a little bit before 6, and there were just a few people in there, and it was just a little bit of a bummer. I know times have changed, but the Dylan movie, I thought it was great. I you know, it's not the best music movie I've ever seen, but it's probably up there, and I want to see it again. I thought Timothy Chalamet was fantastic. A few moments where maybe you were like, oh, he's off on that, but those were few and far between. For the most part, he embodied Dylan, took over the screen. You forgot for most of the movie that he was an actor. Um, it was, and I had, the thing that I walked away with, I had those moments that you have. And I should do a video on this. When you just have those moments, when music does something to you that goes beyond just listening to music. And during the Newport show, when Dylan goes electric, you get that chill down your spine. I got it like 5 times in a row. It was like a chill, a bigger chill, big chill. And I was like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, like when they kicked into, I think it was Like a Rolling Stone, not Maggie's Farm. I think it was Like a Rolling Stone. I welled up. No tears came down, but they were damn close. My eyes were filled with water. And that is a feeling that you really don't get that often in life. And if a movie can do that to me, it's a winner for me. I think it's obvious that this movie, I think it reaches a broad audience, but certainly for hardcore Dylan fans, and some will say there's all of these pieces that weren't, there were some pieces that were not accurate, which is true, right? Like the Judas person yelling out Judas. Obviously was not at Newport, but they sort of blended that together to tell a story. And as Mazzy said, I think it was Mazzy, this isn't a documentary, it's a film. Well, I don't know, it's a movie. It's a depiction of that period. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. I'm Not There is all over the place. That's sort of the charm of the movie. But A Complete Unknown, I think for the most part, it felt like the real story. Judas was moved to a different venue, different time. Probably took some liberties with what was happening on stage at that time. But that's all right. I find it all right. I found it entertaining. I knew that, like, that. I will say, when the person yelled out Judas, I had, wait, that's not where it happened. So, but I thought it was fantastic. And it's a kind of movie I really want to see again and really want to see again soon. Ed Norton as Pete Seeger just seems spot on to me. I think he and Chalamet should be nominated for Oscars. The Woody Guthrie bit maybe struggled a little bit with me. I don't know why. It just felt a little forced. I can't explain it. It wasn't bad. Like I love those moments, and it really humanized Dylan. And I know he did go visit Woody Guthrie in the hospital. I don't know if it was numerous times or what, but the New York scenes are just incredible. Playing in those small coffee houses. Someone recently, and I shared this, I think, on whatever social Threads. I'm on Threads now. I haven't been on Twitter for like a year, ever since Musk. I just don't like that guy. Like, I'm sure most of you don't. And I can't give him any of my content, although I'm sure I deleted my account, like deleted all the past history, but who knows? It's probably out there somewhere. But I think I shared on Threads, that's owned by Meta. You gotta pick your battles, I guess. But I do like the content on Threads thus far. The algorithm is giving me a lot of music, books, movies, photography. So I've really enjoyed it I have enjoyed it thus far. But I think I posted on Threads. Somebody asked me if I could only listen to one artist for the rest of my life. And this is like a week ago. I was out to dinner with a friend. And she's, if you can only listen to one through it. And I didn't even hesitate. And I had never thought about it before. And I just said Bob Dylan. This is before seeing the movie. So it's not like the movie was having a bit of a lag over, a layover, whatever the word is, effect on me. Um, but to me, Dylan, and he's, I'm still on Last FM. I don't know if any of you are still on Last FM. It's like Spotify Rewind, but for all time. And I think my listens are something like Wilco's like almost 11,000 song streams. Springsteen's a little bit over 9,000. Then surprisingly, Josh Ritter is next at like 5,400. And then Dylan's fourth at like 4,700. But his number has been rising in the last year or two. But if I could only listen to one artist, it would be because you get everything. You get, and Steve Earle will take issue with this, you get the greatest songwriter to ever live. I don't even think it's close. Maybe it's close. But to me, he is the greatest lyricist, songwriter to have ever lived. And I can't imagine he'll ever be eclipsed. You get country, you get folk, you get rock and roll, you get like his later stage sort of swooning, Sinatra-y, I don't even know what you call it. You get the blues. You get his weird period, and you get like incredible writing. So it's like literature plus music plus I think there's all these people say like Bob Dylan's a terrible singer. What are you talking about? He's one of the greatest vocalists. He may not have been blessed with the best voice. He doesn't have a Sam Cooke voice or an Otis Redding voice, but man, he can sing. Is one of my favorites. And he would be it if that. And I have all of his. See, it's like this. The sections. I have almost an entire section of Dylan. I have his SACDs. I have his CDs. I have all of his bootleg series, and I feel like that would be enough. I'm 51 years old. If we go by life expectancy, I got about 30 left. If I could only listen to Dylan for the next 30 years, I could be totally fine with that. I'm not going to do it. Maybe I will. No, I won't. But I'm going to listen to Dylan all day today. I just got back from a long road trip, a wonderful road trip. Went up to the Pacific Northwest, visited Mazzy, stayed for a few nights with Amanda the Archivist and Todd of the Lost Mixtapes. We just talked about music, drank, stayed up late, ate a lot of food, laughed. It was, if you go to the Lost Mixtapes, you'll see a video of us. We did, I think it was like an hour-long video just from the hip. There was nothing planned. We just literally hit play. I will link to it. But Bob Dylan, this movie, I loved it. And I think I will like it more the more that I see it. And Timothée Chalamet just nailed it. I've thought about it all day today, the different scenes. Just Bob's looks and sort of his attitude. It's just this. I just got to chill thinking about it. The Johnny Cash scene in the parking lot. Do you want some bugles? Is that what they're called? I used to eat those as a kid. Just a wonderful film. Can't wait to have it on DVD or Blu-ray, and I would highly recommend that you go out and see it. I may see it again in the theaters. It was that good. So thanks for stopping by. We are almost in 2025. Who knows what that year is going to bring? Hopefully some good music like 2024, which is a tremendous year in music. And as I heard shared with Mazzy and the Archivist and Todd, I heard somebody recently talk about they think there's a renaissance. It was some classic rocker like a Keith Richards or Ronnie Wood or Ringo or somebody. I can't remember who it was, Steve Van Zandt. Just saying that they think that there's sort of a renaissance happening post-COVID, Trump years, thought were behind us. Now they're back. And I agree. Like singer-songwriters, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. What a fun time, or a great time to be a fan of music. Um, a complete unknown. Pitchfork, I usually need to see a movie twice to give it, but I'd probably say like 9.1, 9.2. When I left, I thought 9.0, but I think I bumped it up a little bit. Happy New Year, and I will talk to you early in January.